welcome back to the Wooddale Library. We're going to do our holiday centerpiece tonight, and I know you guys love this program. Everybody does. Always turns out with great results, no matter what. So I'm Peggy, Garvin Gardens, back at the Wooddale Library. So today we're using our same container. We usually use an inexpensive waterproof dish, and we have some wires. You got those two stuck into your foam there. So I pre-soaked the floral foam. We're using Oasis brand tonight, which is just floral foam. You can use Aqua Foam is another brand. You just fill up the sink, drop the foam in there, let it sink down all by itself. Never forcing, because you will get a dry spot you don't know about. You have 1/3 of this, so they have little scores in here. I have 1/3 in this dish made for that. So if you're going to go ahead and make this again at home, you're going to go pick up some more supplies. You can definitely cut it to fit your container, soak what you need, and then set aside the rest for next time. But just soak what you're going to use, pretty much. Always cutting so you have a nice lip to work with, and then the tape is just my waterproof tape. It's a florist tape just to hold it in place. It shouldn't be necessary if you're just going to do it for your house, but just to deliver it, it should be intact. So we're going to want to make sure we're always adding water to this dish as we enjoy our flowers. They're going to dry out faster. So like a fresh Christmas tree, we're using fresh swags, Christmas swags already picked up. These are from Oregon and have been picked probably or cut about a month or so ago. Just like a fresh Christmas tree, they always cut that bottom on it before you take it home so it starts drawing water. The same thing's going to go here. So you're going to want to make sure we're cutting every stem before we go insert it into the foam. So the greens will drink and stay hydrated, and this arrangement should last you for weeks. So first of all, we're going to start with our decorations. So the ribbons, everybody's got some velvet ribbon, like 3 pieces, right? And then you also have some little wood picks, which I think they're also going to be stuck into your foam there. They have little wires hanging off the end. And basically these wires are just wrapped onto this pick, so they do come off, but they're not going to do that for you today. I'm just saying. So we're going to take our velvet ribbon and we're just going to make loops with tails. And if you haven't done this before, it's very simple. I'll do it 3 times because everybody's going to make 3 loops. So basically you have velvet on one side and a plastic back on this ribbon. And what you're going to do is just hold that up. I have it about 12 to 14 inches long. I'm folding that down towards myself. So I have the velvet facing away, the plastic is facing myself, folding that down about 1/3. And then I'm just going to flip the tail up. When I flip it up, I'm having all velvet showing. If you went the wrong way, which a lot of people do, you'll see plastic, and you don't want to see that. You want to see all velvet. So again, you're flipping down towards yourself about 1/3, flipping up the tail. So basically you're ending up with a tail and a loop. Okay, so then you're going to take the bottom of it, holding it at the bottom, pinching it. Just pinch that bottom, squish it, whatever you want to call it. Hold that tight with your thumb and index finger. So then the pick comes in handy. Here, we got that wire sticking out here. You're going to just hold this right to the ribbon, just right by your thumb. Right, grab it there, grab the wire, wrap it around the whole thing as tight as you can get it, just like that. So you have now a picked loop and tail. We'll just do it again because I'm going to do 3 of them. So here again, we fold down towards ourselves, fold away, pinch the bottom, squish it, whatever. Just makes it a little poofier, which is good. And then the wire is hanging off. You're just going to slip that under your thumb. You can fit it into a fold of the ribbon if you like. Grab the wire, wrap it right around really tight. It's really just the tip of the pick, not the whole pick, and you're not going through anything. Because people think they got to go through things to make bows. We're not doing that. We're doing it really simple. So again, this is your last try, and then you're gonna have to push rewind to do it again. It's pretty simple. So you're just, again, velvet is away from me, plastic is towards me, folding it down towards myself, flipping up my tail, flipping it up, holding it at the base, and I like that tail to be longer than the loop, just because I like it to hang that way. Pinching it nice, tight, pinch, holding that thumb and index finger, wires hanging off the pick, slip that right in there, grab on, wrap that wire around the whole thing, really tight, so it doesn't come undone, and that's it. So you should have 3 of these, 1, 2, and 3. We'll set those aside for later, for our embellishments. We also have pine cones. Got to get the pine cones in there. So the wires, this is where this comes in. We're going to wire these pine cones so we can stick them into our flower arrangement. So this is the bottom of the cone. This is more the top. It's really whatever you like, but I usually have the top up. So closer to the bottom of the cone, I will take this wire, and about the middle of the wire, I'm just going to slip it around the cone. Let's get it in there, in between the little conettes, as I call them. Slip it around real tight. Just pull it in. You can do that. Really tight pull on it. Twist it tight. These two little wires hanging off the bottom are how we're going to stick it into our flower arrangement. So you'll want to do that to all 3 of your cones. So here again, the wire just goes around the base of the cone. Slip it in between those little cones. Twist it really tight. Twist them together if you like. And you're going to have a nice pick. There's a wire pick to get that in there. So you'll do all 3 of those. And then we'll set those aside for later. Let's get that in nice and tight. So yeah, it's a little rough-handed, but just pull on it. You can do this. Twist it tight. That's it. It doesn't have to be even. It's really just to get a longer wire hanging out. Okay? All right, so now we got our foam and we got a candle. Everybody gets a candle. I have a couple colors here. There's red and pomegranate, which is just a little darker, or a cranberry color. And that's what I'll be using here. Taking that ribbon, the wrap off. So we're going to stick this candle right in the middle, about 1 inch. You don't have to go all the way in, just about 1 inch or so is perfect. And then we have our door swag. So you can pick these up at any, I think they even have them at Jewel, probably Trader Joe's, a few different suppliers. So if you want to do a couple more of these, you definitely can do that. I'm sure you can find these things. It's called a traditional door swag, regular swag. And it has a wire bind, so I'll get that off first. And don't use your pruner to cut that, use a wire cutter. Or you could twist it, but the wire cutter works nice. Get that off, all right. So the ingredients here in our swag, this one has a nice piece of blueberry juniper. Then we have some yellow incense cedar, the little yellow cones on it, love that. Now these swags are different this year. They come with a little bit of eucalyptus, which mine looks okay. Depends what the swag looks like, but mine looks okay. And then the bottom piece is this noble fir. And actually they gave me a nice big couple chunks of that. Now I also included white pine, which is always a necessity for a holiday arrangement if you ask me. And then of course holly. This is a bigger branch of holly, but I already get some holly too. So we're gonna start with that big piece of noble fir. And we're going to cut this down into smaller increments. So I have my good pruners here. These are heavier pruners for cutting heavier evergreen boughs. I also have these really good pruners that I got at the garden show one year. They're a ratchet pruner, so they're really good for really heavy boughs. So you really need a heavier pruner for this kind of work. But this is a really good one, Swiss Firs. I just got this at the Home Depot. So anyway, when you're looking at your piece of noble here, you'll see I call these things different things. We got a single little stem here. I'm calling that a finger. And then some of them look more like hands, smaller hands. And then you'll get some bigger pieces sometimes that I would call that like an arm, but actually I don't see that on mine here. But basically what we're going to do is just cut it into smaller usable sizes. So running along that main stem, I'm just going to cut small pieces right off the side, every size, even the little finger ones, we'll use those. I'm working my way up from the end and taking the ones in the back. All these excellent little pieces here. Just take it all off the main stem. That's the main stem. Okay, so here's the top of my main stem, and I see this 1, 2, and 3 more pieces. So I will cut this one like this 1, 2, and then I have number 3 here. Now I know some of you will have another bough. Some of them look a little different. They may just have one big hand at the top. So you will definitely want to take that as one piece. And sometimes you'll actually get one of these just jetting right out and it's kind of too much. You may want to tip that out. But I'm going to leave mine all intact. So we're basically using everything but this main stem. So this we can throw in the wood pile, set that aside. We're not going to use that. So we have an assortment here of all different sizes, which is perfect. And so I'm going to look through my pile, and I'm going to look for a couple pieces that are close in size. They don't have to be exact. something. Okay, so we have, this is about the two biggest pieces I have in my pile. Actually, I have the second piece. Let's just go ahead and use that too. Sometimes you'll get a bonus. Not everybody does, but this one did. So I'm actually going to take some of these separately so I have more hands. I didn't have very many big ones in mine. So now I can see that I have two very close in size. And yes, sometimes there's different varieties too. As you can see, this one's a little fluffier, this one's a little thinner. It's all basically the fur, so noble fur. So as we work, we're going to want to make sure we have clean cuts on the bottom and remove a good inch of needles off the bottom. You want to have a clean stem as you go into that foam. If you have big knobs or big cuts, it's going to make a bigger hole and in turn be loose and possibly fall out of the arrangement. You only need to go in about an inch also. I don't need anything longer than this to be inserted into the foam because you'll start running into each other's stems inside that foam or possibly that candle as well. So first two pieces, close in size. They can be anywhere from 10 to 12 to 14 inches. It really depends on what your greens look like when you open them up. This is what I got. I'm going with this. So we have our long side of our foam. As you can see, that longer side, I'm going to start there. We're going to do two pieces horizontally. And can you see that good? Flat on the edge of the dish. So they're laying flat. Flat as flat can be. They were just laying, they're actually resting on that dish. I don't want to see them doing this little flyaway look. That's not good. You want to keep them flat, and this will actually give us our length of our arrangement. So how long this fits on my table. So then I'm going to take two more. Let's grab two more that are very close again in size, and it exactly is not necessary. It's all going to be good when we're done. So here again, I'm removing all these little needles off the bottom, just yanking those babies right off. Comes off pretty easy. And yeah, you'll get sappy. So you have hand sanitizer, no doubt. When you're all done, put hand sanitizers on your fingers and work it off. That alcohol will cut that sap, and then you can go wash up with some soap. So that's the trick to get that off, unless you're wearing gloves. So back to these two side pieces. Again, same thing, flat, horizontally, laying on the edge of the dish so it's flat as a pancake, right? Okay, got that. Four sides, so this is my outside circumference. My arrangement should be about that size when I'm completed. Now we're gonna take, let's go with these little fingers, these little guys. They don't have much of a job, but they do have one. So we're gonna take these needles again off the bottom, make sure you have a nice clean cut, not a curly cut or anything like that. It'll just make it hard to get into the foam. Now I'm gonna take 2, 3, 4, whatever it takes. I'm gonna put these around my candle and kind of support the candle, keep it straight, keep it from wiggling around, and kind of create a candle ring just around that candle. And I'm not lining them up like soldiers. I'm just gonna have them kind of fan backwards. They're kind of leaning away from the candle. I keep the height down too because I like to light the candle for dinner, and you know, you don't want the flowers to start on fire during dinner. That would kind of ruin things. So keep it short, just a nice little fluff around that center just to kind of give you some fullness right there next to the candle. So you can see that. I did actually 5, but you see my height is right about there, and it's nice and full, and they're just naturally flowing away from the candle. All right. So I still have a good pile here yet, and I'm going to use all of this noble fur at this point. Now, if you did get a generous size, you don't necessarily have to use it all. You could set some stuff aside and maybe possibly make something else in some other little Christmas holiday container you have. So with these extra scraps, now I'm going to start working on the rest of it. So I'm going to take a medium-sized piece here, and you see the corner of this foam here. I'm just going to go into the foam pretty much like horizontally, but on an angle. So I'm not going to go in flat. I'm going to turn it a quarter turn, go into the corner. So I don't need it sticking up high. It's just kind of jutting off. We're going to do one there. I'm going to do another one on the opposite side. Get those needles off again. Coming in on the corner, I turned it a quarter turn, so it's starting to give me some volume. So here, one more time. I'll do all 4. I have plenty to do all 4. You don't always have the exact numbers in your swag numbers when you're cutting. It's all okay. It's all good because we got all this to put in there. But a lot of people like, I don't have enough. That's the first thing I'll hear. So we're going to go right into the corner on that guy. I have 4 corners I did just now. All right, so 4 corners. You can see I just put a little volume on that. I still have a few scraps right here. I could definitely use more of these. Now you're gonna look for lower spots, even down closer to the corners, on the edge. Because when we're done here, we're not gonna see this container at all. We're gonna fill in all those lower corners and the top as well. So do a few more. You can use whatever you have. Do a couple of corners. You can do, mine are pretty short here, so I could actually stick shorter ones up on top. I'm not gonna go too crazy. Just like I said, I got more to put in here. So I'm gonna stop here with those pieces, and that's where I'm at. We got all that noble I'm gonna use. And you can see I still have plenty of room in that foam to get more stuff in. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the white pine. That was the additional green that was in on top of your swag here. So you're gonna cut this into smaller pieces too. And it really depends what your piece looks like. Again, they're all a little different. But I start by cutting off the bigger chunks. And you'll have some small ones, little short puffs like that, perfect up on top. In between are noble, just to keep the height down. But you're gonna start transitioning the greens here into different textures. So shorter pieces are perfect on top, and longer pieces will be nice a little lower in the arrangement. So this big piece like this, I can easily just take out the centerpiece like that. I took it right out of the middle, and you can still use this as a whole piece, and you can't see where I took it, but now I have two, right? So we'll take this longer one, long and low, right along the edge is nice, cascading over the side. And then I like to follow up with an opposite side, so let's get one more close in size to that. Needles off again. I do one here, I'm gonna follow through with one on the opposite side, just to kind of keep yourself balanced. I think that'll help you get it right. And then like this one that I took the tip out, I could use this as a big clump, or I can actually take some of these little tips, just like that. I think I will. Let's just go ahead and take those little tips, because I have a few more yet on my table. But short ones are nice on top. They're not gonna get in the way of the candle. You're just gonna start mixing in those greens. So here again, these short ones are gonna go away from the candle, looking at your guest and filling in between that noble. As you can see there, it's just sort of mixed in. A couple long pieces. I do have some more. Let's go ahead and use all of it. So when I say long and low, I mean low in the dish, long with the dish. So you have those first couple pieces we stuck in, long and low, so I can just come back with that. Get that right in there with that. So it's just accenting that piece of noble fir. We're doing it on the opposite. And this smells good. This white pine is going to give you a lot of fragrance, and it's also going to give you a lot of sap. So I'm getting sappier by the minute. So a couple more pieces of pine, and now you can kind of see where I'm at. I still have space. You can see the transition from the noble to the white pine in here throughout. And that should be good, and I'm not using this. Don't use anything that has a big stub that doesn't look pretty. So that goes in the pile. All right, so next, let's pick that beautiful little piece. Now I want to say mine is so beautiful, but this is the eucalyptus. And this is a new addition. Usually we have Oregonia that comes in these swags, but this is different this year because I think of the drought and the fires and all that stuff. They're just supplementing. So you're going to use this. Again, it looks awesome in here. Once you get it in here, you're going to get smaller chunks. You're just going to cut it into usable sizes. And the more you get, the more you'll have throughout. So anything that's weird looking like that, we're cutting that off. I'm going to get some pieces like this. It's basically just kind of making usable pieces. So little ones, perfect. Again, on top of the foam, near the candle. You can do one on one side again, another little guy on the opposite side. And you'll see instantly the difference in the transition here with this green because it's a big round leaf. And it fits nicely in between these others. So let's do a couple more. I'm just cutting off any branches that don't have anything on them so they're not in the way, cleaning it up a little bit. Sometimes you'll see little bite marks from somebody chewing on it. You can dip those out if you like. And I'm just gonna mix this through. So here again, this isn't a beautiful piece, but we're gonna use it. It'll turn out awesome. So we'll just get this woody stuff off that doesn't have any leaves. And you can see I'm just cutting into different sizes, and I am gonna leave a couple longer. Here's my couple longer ones. Yeah, they don't look perfect, but once I get them in my arrangement, they'll be great. So longer, low in the arrangement. You can even come down to the edge. Get that in there. And then again on the opposite side. And then these other extra little guys I have, I'm just gonna fill along the edge. So it's a little bit all over. You're just mixing it through, okay? And I know I had some people yesterday that had a lot of it. So it really depends on your piece. But I think I did okay with my little piece. It turned out nice. You could see it right in here peeking through, and I just sort of blended it through. So there you go. Next, one of my faves, the yellow incense cedar. Now this stuff is very floppy, as you can see, and weighted. It just does this, hangs like that. So you're gonna wanna cut this into usable sizes and then kind of maneuver it to make it look nice in your arrangement. You always wanna have a woody stem. That means a nice brown stem on it. The green individual stems, sometimes people wanna pull those and use them separately. It's gonna be too soft. It'll just bend in your hand as you're trying to insert it into the foam. So really try to stick with the woody stem. So to cut this into usable sizes, and I have all the yellow cones up here nice, so I'm gonna actually take this top piece here, one, you can see that, I just pitched him right out of the top. Now I'm gonna take these two together and make that a grouping, cutting that here. So I have another little double grouping there. And these actually have a woody stem, so I think I'll take those a little shorter. The thing is with this stuff, if it's too long, it's gonna become very weepy. Your arrangement will look very weepy and wild looking. So a little shorter keeps it more compact and clean looking. So here again, like this piece, it's just one. I'm just gonna cut it into smaller, usable sizes. So I'm working my way down the main stem, tipping out the middle, making little side guys. Here's another one, I'll do 4 on this. They're a little shorter. Just assorted sizes. And then sometimes you'll get to the bottom of a stem and you may see it's a little drier down there. You may not watch those foliage. Just pull them off or pinch them off or don't even use it. So you just really mixed sizes like this. So when I insert this into the arrangement, let's find one that's a good example. So you can see that this is kind of weighted and floppy. And if I just stuck it in like this, it would just look like that in the arrangement. So I want to make it work a little better. So by reversing gravity, I'm going to make it open up and fluff nice. Short pieces up on top. So really pretty right there on top, and then it'll just poof open nicely on your arrangement. And same rule, let's do one on one side, one on the other. Here we go. Here's one that's kind of weighted. We'll just flip it around and make it poof open. Get it into that foam. Get it nice in. Make sure it's in there and you got a fresh cut. But you can see how much that just opened and poofed open in that arrangement. Now I'm going to go ahead and use all of it. Longer pieces, again, could be along the edge. It can cascade over the side, just like that one just did. Make sure you do it all over, because this stuff really, it looks like little Italian lights kind of in your arrangement. Nature's little lights. I always say that, but it's true. So if you cascading over the sides, a little bit of yellow everywhere. Let's get that in here. Do I have any more? I want more. Here's one. Good. All right. So now I got it all in there. So let me show you how pretty that looks so far. Look at that. All that yellow incense cedar. So my suggestion at this point or even earlier on, you may want to just pick up your arrangement, look for holes along the sides. You're going to want to look for stuff along the edge. So yeah, and then you can look down from the top and check out your shape. See if you got one guy sticking way over to the side. You want to make sure it's all together. All right, I just found another good piece. I'm just going to take that real quick. And stick that in there and get this that up. I'm using all my incense cedar at this point, and I'm using all of it because I love it. So there we go. Beautiful. So let's see, what's next? The blueberry juniper. So this stuff is always a little bit unusual. It's a little gnarly. It's all about the blueberries, really. The foliage is a little funky. And yeah, some people don't like the even smell of juniper. So if that's the thing that bothers you, or the berries fermenting might have a little scent, just saying. You don't have to use it, but I love it. I love another mix of texture and the berries. So here we're just gonna take off. I'm gonna use as much as I can. And I got some good berries going on here, so I'm gonna make little smaller clumps of it. And it's really how you prune it. Anything that's too gnarly or kind of rough looking, just, skip that. You don't have to use it. But I got a good couple pieces in here, and I just kind of wanted to peek out. We're gonna go in here, real nice there. Go another one over here. I want to see those berries mixed in between that incense cedar too. So I kind of mix that throughout. Sure, here's one more piece. There we go. I'll get that over here. And you probably can't even see it on the camera, but it's here. 1, 2, and 3 is my blueberry juniper. All right, and then we got holly. And really the holly is just about a couple good pieces stuck in. Now the berries, everybody goes crazy because they love the berries, but the berries don't grow in the right spot, as you can see. They're down here and they're not gonna show. It's really about the leaves. So, and they are dangerous. They have little prickly leaves on their edge and it's a little dry, so I noticed it's gonna even hurt more if you're trying to get your hand in there. Just beware of that. Good fresh cut. Ow, see? Yeah, don't get it under your fingernail, that hurts. A couple pieces sticking out just so it shows nice. Keep the cat out of your flowers probably. One bite on the nose and I don't think they'll come back. But yeah, the berries don't really show up anyway. They just, like I said, they're all growing on underneath, which is not ideal, but that's the way the plant grows. So I got 3 pieces. I'm just gonna stick those in. Right there, we got the candle. So you can see my holly is in there with the juniper. Everybody else looks great. So we have our embellishments now. Let's see. We got our glass balls. Oh, and these are already pulled apart. I was going to tell you, you'll have 6 together. And if you have one wire wrapped about all of them, you can gently find one loose one and pull it out. Then you'll be able to pull out a couple more. So you can get 3 out. And then, this is not what you're going to do, but let's pull this away. You're going to want, the picks aren't for this job. Let's just get this off here. So you're just going to take those 3, wrap them tight together, and those wires that are on there are going to be the pick to get them in. So we'll do one here. Let's get that right into the foam. They're wired, so they'll just sneak in. And then these are just attached by paper, so don't pull them off because that's it. That's over there. But you're going to take these 3, wrap them together, and they're just gentle little glass balls, so they do break. And twist them tight together, and then those wires are what our pick is. So I'll use that to get that in. So I'm just doing a couple on top. I have the matte gold. And then there are cones we already prepared. Those are ready to go. So I like to see, I don't know, I got a big guy here. We'll stick him over here, over on this side. And a couple smaller ones. I think I'm going to do those together over here. And you can twist these wires tight so they don't split up as you're sticking them into the foam. Sometimes you'll run into that. We're just going to get a couple of these guys up top. Oh, I like them together, kind of. But you can put them anywhere you like. Fill in any holes. I kind of group a couple together. I got a third one here. I don't know if you can see that. And then lastly will be our ribbons, our little loops we made. Now, since I got all these embellishments on top, which is the cones and those balls, we're going to go down here lower with this red just to bring that in. And it's just going to kind of cascade over the sides. So nice. And we got 3. So we'll do that triangle there. And there you can see that completed. So a few things, a couple tips. When you have water now in this dish since you've been poking into that foam. And when you're working with the foam, don't be going in and out too many times because it's just going to fall apart and you're going to have to start over. So you can move things a couple times, but not too much, okay? Because you got heavier stems here and they're not as movable. The other thing is, so there's water in this dish now, and I want to make sure that you know that you add water to this. Make sure there's always water in the dish. So this, like I said, the Christmas trees drink a lot the first couple days. Same thing's going to go on here. You're going to dry up by tonight with the heat on now again in the house. They're going to dry faster. So just check it. I take it to the faucet and just take the thing over to the faucet and drip it in there and feel my thumb in here and feel the water inside. Because you'll just spill on the table, no doubt. Otherwise, you can stick this into a beautiful basket. I have mine at home in a compote. I have my mother's white milk glass compote, so it sits up high. It looks gorgeous. I also have a nice red cake plate, or any cake plate would be fine. But just to bring it up off the table makes it look even more fancy, and then you got your food down below. That's always really nice. And then just don't leave that candle unattended when you do light it, because these are fresh greens and could be a fire hazard. You could easily add fresh flowers to it if you're having a party this weekend. You could add some roses or some carnations or white pomps, anything really. So that would work fine. Now, if you're gonna be gone, you can stick it into the garage. As long as it's not freezing, it should be okay. The holly doesn't like below freezing, just saying. It shouldn't go below 32, but everything else should be fine. It would just freeze up. But you could put it in the garage, so if you're gonna be gone this weekend and you're having people next weekend, just pull it out. I did notice too that the yellow incense cedar may pollinate on you because it is coming into the warm air of your house. So you may notice some dust on the table, and that's gonna be the pollen probably from your incense cedar there. But I think that covers everything. So you guys know my number. You can call me anytime. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. See you in February. Thanks. Bye.